Aries, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early to mid-June 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Aries collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do you got for us? What do you have for the Rams in early to mid-June 2026? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Aries gang. Early to mid-June. What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's have a little bit of fun here this week. Okay, cool. So this is not the most fun energy, but it's kind of self-reflective, a little bit serious. And I don't dislike this card. I always say I feel like there's a lot more underneath the surface than what the imagery shows us. But yeah, it is an inward-facing type of vibe. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the June subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So we see this lovely lady here in the image. She has her eyes closed, hand on the face. There's this little locket that's illuminated. We have the doll, we have the letters. So to me, it's either someone that's doing a lot of reminiscing or a lot of self-reflection. So just know, and again, this doesn't have to be you. Maybe your energy is facing outward and this is somebody else that's pulling within. It's very possible. This card does give me reminiscent vibes similar to the Six of Cups. So it's like we're taking a trip down memory lane. I'm thinking about the past, or the past could be very important for the current times and the future moving forward. So that's nice. So again, it's like inward, self-reflective, very thought-based. So just know you might be thinking a little more so than you normally do. You might be in your mind a little bit. It's all good. As long as you don't stay there too long, right? Now, the only downside with this is obviously the overthinking. I think that's something to watch out for. But there is this other energy surrounding communication, especially with the letters, where it's like there's something I want to discuss, there's something I want to talk about. So whether that's you or somebody else, communication could be very important in this time. I mean, nothing wrong with a little self-reflection, though, right? This energy is just taking a lot of trips down memory lane. So we're going to let her chill out right there. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the Aries collective. What do you got for us? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. So I could actually say for the past 2 weeks, the past has been present for one reason or another. The reading last week was titled An Unfinished Situation. So for some Aries, or maybe someone you're connected to, they might feel like there's something still that needs to be solved or something that may need to be worked out. Like it felt like there's unfinished business on the table. So again, watch out for that energy moving forward, because I've seen that for a couple weeks. And now even with this card, there is something about the past showing up strong. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Aries gang. What do we have in early to mid-June? Early to mid-June 2026. There we go. Cool. Thank you. Page of Swords, very observant. Very observant. Big air sign energy. I don't dislike pages. They do have a good potential energy moving forward. I could say that because usually it's like a fresh, new type of energy. The Page of Swords is a little bit on guard, though, right? It has its guard up. Okay, King of Swords. So lots of swords. If you were an earth sign or a water sign, I'd be a little more concerned about this energy. But air works very well with fire. Lots of people showing up here for one reason or another. Okay, cool. So you're going to have a bonus this week as well. So we have the 10 of Pentacles right here on the back end. Beautiful energy. So that could be a very good result. And then the bonus is the Magician. So we have an intriguing little mixture of things happening here, Aries. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know me, I always love to look at the elements. I feel like that's important. It frames the reading for us and tells us how comfortable or uncomfortable you might be with the energy. And we have a mixture of air and earth. The Magician is kind of a catch-all. He he really dips his toe in every single element. So we're not going to talk about him too much yet. But the main part of the spread, the air and earth, these are somewhat opposing energies. Now, as I mentioned, for a fire sign like Aries, air actually works very well because fire and air, they feed off of each other. So usually it's very energetic. So I like it. Now, when it comes to the air, the swords, that's the realm of the mind. So remember that reflective inward energy we saw with the Oracle card? This is very similar. Air energy is logical, pragmatic, very strategic, cut and dry, no BS, no nonsense. That's the one thing I like about it. It can represent either giving or receiving information. So there might be certain things where it's like, I need to know, I want to know, searching, searching, searching. And it's very intelligent. That's the one thing I always love about the air element. The only downside to it is the overthinking, that it could get caught in its mind, that it could overthink certain things. It could also sometimes be a little cold or a little detached and distant. So that's something to watch out for. Right here on the back, we have Earth. Now, this is very solid, stable energy, which can be very good, especially with the Ten of Pentacles, and we'll get into that in a moment. But Earth element is security, stability. I think of results, like final results, when I see this energy. It could be day to day life, ritual, routine, your sense of stability in general. That could be a big thing. Think of money, work, business, finance, home, family. All the material aspects of life are represented under the earth umbrella. Now, the only downside to earth energy is that sometimes it could get a little mucky, right? It could get a little stuck in the muck. It could feel like it's not making a lot of progress. So watch out for frustration. And then, yeah, of course, the magician here has a balance of every single element here. And we'll talk about him in a moment. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we're starting with the Page of Swords. And we see this young individual. These energies here on the front end are very similar. The Page of Swords, as with all pages, can represent new things. It can represent students or messengers. Maybe you're connected to an air sign. That's very possible, especially with this Page of Swords. It's very youthful and energetic. But this one, even compared to the other ones, is really strong when it comes to the communication. But there's the guard up, right? So sometimes when the Page of Swords is here, it's like I'm being defensive. I'm being very skeptical. I'm unsure about something. So again, whether that's advice or how someone's acting, the energy does have its guard up a little bit. And we'll see if we could dig into that further. But the biggest thing to me with the Page of Swords is that most readers call this the Watcher of the Tarot deck. Okay, so again, maybe you're getting a little more attention than you normally do. Maybe someone's got you under the microscope. Maybe you have someone or something that you're keeping a close eye on. That's very possible when this card is here. But yeah, the big downside to the Page of Swords, sometimes it could just be overly skeptical, and sometimes it could shut down. Now, moving to the middle, we have the King of Swords. So again, this could be another person, or this could be an evolution of energy. Because when we go from this page here into the king, that's like the fullest expression of the suit. Now, kings represent control of their suit, and we just spoke heavily about the air and what the swords mean. So when I see the King of Swords, it's like I'm keeping my mind locked on something, or I'm controlling my thoughts. Again, it's very analytical, it's very plan based. So when we have the Watcher with the King of Swords, there could be a lot of observation where it's like, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how this goes before I do anything. So there could be certain situations where Spirit's like, all right, don't react yet, gather information. That's like a big thing I'm picking up here on the front end, especially with the King of Swords. He's great when it comes to planning, as I already mentioned. So maybe there's certain things where Spirit's like, all right, be structured about it. But the downside to the King of Swords is sometimes he could be an ice king, right? He could be really, really cold. Sometimes it could even be mean. It could cut certain things away. That's a big thing. And I always say when the King of Swords is here, it means either there is something that could be serious or should be taken seriously. So we'll see how it plays out. But especially with the Page of Swords in here and with him in the middle, it's very observant. It's keeping an eye on something for one reason or another. And there is an evolution in the energy. So if you're looking for facts and information, you're probably going to get it. Now, moving to the back end, we have the Ten of Pentacles. This is the big silver lining to the reading, at least in my opinion, is this is a card of massive wins and victories, right? Like we see the whole family there. They got the 10 Pentacles. This is great for money, business, stability in general, just like we saw with the suit. So whenever I see the 10 of Pentacles, I'm like, okay, that's an increase. That's a really good thing, especially with the material aspects of life. So you might be seeing certain things even out. And especially with all this watching and planning and the 10 of Pentacles, it's like, okay, I handled this the right way. So there could be something or a situation where maybe you're on the right road, even if you feel like you're not. So I love the Ten of Pentacles for the win-based, victory-based, abundant-based type of energy. So it's really good. The only downside to the Ten of Pentacles is that sometimes it could be a little too set in its ways. It is that stuck energy. So watch out for boredom. Watch out for feeling stuck. Um, I think it's good. So far, I think it's going to be okay. But like with the way this energy is planning with the Ten of Pentacles, we just want to keep a really close eye on it. And again, as an Aries myself, I understand if we don't feel like we're moving forward, we feel like we're moving backwards. That's not necessarily the case with the situation. And then here on the back end, we have the Magician, biggest card of manifestation and creation in the whole entire deck. So I love this. It's channeling its energy in the proper places. This is very good for spirituality, spiritual practice, any sort of ritual. We love the Magician for that. But this is the prototypical card of thoughts become things. So keep that in mind. Really watch the mindset, especially with this stuff here in the beginning. And now might be a great time to manifest. But he does also have underlying energies of control, which I find intriguing since we have a king here. So I want to dive deeper on all this, Aries. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for Aries gang. Let's see what's happening. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on Mr. Page here. Let's see what the Watcher is doing. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Aries, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is that Page of Swords here? Thank you. Cool. All right, so this energy does seem very non-reactive, and I do think for some Aries that could be an advice because, again, speaking as an Aries, I know sometimes we can go on impulse, right? Knee-jerk reactions and stuff like that. So when I see the Page, the Watcher, with the Two of Pentacles in reverse, it's like, let me gather information first. Let me just watch. So again, I will say this, especially with all the people, you might be getting a little more attention than you normally are. Your phone might blow up a little more so than usual. So there could be a lot of observation and watching going on in one form or another. But the main overarching theme I'm picking up here on the front end, especially with the Two of Pentacles in reverse, is like, think first, act later. So there could be something where Spirit's like, no knee-jerk reactions. Maybe there's something you need to slow it down a little bit, which again, I know not all of us like to hear that, but slow and steady wins the race. And that's like the big thing I'm picking up here, especially with all this stuff on the back end. So I think this is okay. So yeah, the main two things here, no knee-jerk reactions, take it slow, try to be non-reactive, or either that or that's how someone's acting, completely non-reactive, where it's like, hey, hello, did you hear what I said? But let's go in on the King of Swords. I really want to see the whole picture. So we got the observing, we got the lack of reaction for some reason, but let's see what the King has to say. So why is the King of Swords here for Aries, please? Thank you. Ten of Wands in reverse underneath it. Okay. I actually think this is really good. This is some sort of burden lifting. So for a lot of Aries in this time, this could be amazing energy for any sort of problem solving. So if you're in any sticky situations or you're dealing with something that's been bothering you for a while, when I see the King of Swords with the Ten of Wands in reverse, it's like, okay, I'm planning my way out of this. There is some sort of burden lifting. So I think that's a good thing. And listen, I know Aries are dealing with a whole bunch of different things, but the main thing here is I feel like my mind is at ease, where it's like, okay, I'm not so bothered about this anymore, or something's not bothering me as much as it should be. Now, we do have this underlying theme of, planning things out. And like when I see him with the Ten of Wands in reverse, it's like, okay, there's an easier way to do this. Like, I don't have to force this. So again, there's certain things in this time. Do not force, do not rush. There's an easier way to do something or handle something. That's like the main thing I'm picking up here. Now, this doesn't mean like, oh, like this is someone taking the easy way out. I'm not feeling that at all. But I just feel like there could be certain things where there's an easier way to reach the end goal, if that makes sense. Because remember, the tens, all tens represent the close of a cycle. The 10 of Wands in the upright is normally very heavy. It's a burdensome type of energy. So seeing it in reverse is actually really good. So I love the build up here. The slow and steady wins the race. Try your best not to be reactive. Or again, there could just be someone that's in the planning stages of something, right? And it feels like, all right, there's an easier way to do this. There's a much easier way to do this or handle this. let's keep going in on the Ten of Pentacles. We'll see what that has, then we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. So as of right now, I'm feeling optimistic yet neutral about all the energy we have this week, which I think is an okay place to be, right? It's better than other options, but let's see what the Ten of Pentacles has. Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, we have the King of Pentacles in the upright underneath this Ten of Pentacles. I absolutely love this. This is 100% a serious win of some sort, for sure. Now, the King of Pentacles, obviously, that could represent an Earth sign, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. And remember, all kings represent control. So when I see the King of Pentacles with the Earth, very grounded, very predictable. So again, the slow approach, the slow, steady, cautious approach is the best way. Which again, I know as an Aries that might ruffle our feathers a little bit. Not all of us, some of us. But the King of Pentacles, blessings, abundance, it ties right in with this Ten of Pentacles we have right above it. So I feel like this is a serious win. Now, when I say serious win, it's like, okay, there is something you are experiencing that is leading up to a very big win that you might not even conceptualize. And I'm not just fluffing that. That's how that feels to me. Or there is a situation where if you take it seriously and you're non-reactive and you strategize it, there is no way it could go wrong, which again, I don't usually like being so definitive, but yeah, the King of Pentacles and the upright under the Ten of Pentacles, it's like, yeah, perfect, big, serious win here on the back end. So we love this. So the slow approach is the best approach, no forcing of anything. I just really like it. So I think it's super claimable, especially on the back end. But just notice we have a lot of people showing up here, especially with what I was saying about popularity and pulling energy towards you. Just know in this time with all these people, you might be a bit of a people magnet, especially with the watching stuff. But let's go through. I'll give you a quick recap, then we'll get into the shadows. So overall, I like where this energy goes. But if you kindly look in the box, position number one, we have the Page of Swords, Two of Pentacles in reverse. Either someone being non-reactive or trying to be non-reactive, or again, that could be advice for some Aries where spirit's like, okay, think first, act later, gather information about something. I do also feel for a lot of Aries getting more attention than you might normally get from whatever source. There's like a microscope on you. Moving to the middle, we have the King of Swords, Ten of Wands in reverse. There's something that may have been bothering me that doesn't bother me as much, where it's like, that's a load off, or that's something that I don't have on my mind. I think it's really great. This could also be someone trying to plan an easier way to do something, or it could be spirit saying, like, Aries, there is an easier way. Just you got to get into that flow state. Don't force anything, don't pressure anything. The slow and steady approach does yield a very big, serious win when we get to the back end. Ten of Pentacles, King of Pentacles in the upright. Just so growth and Jupiter expansive type of energy. I just love it so much on the back end. It does feel like a serious win. So whether it's something you take seriously and put a lot of energy into that results in this win, or it's just one where it's like, hey, even if it's moving slow, if you take the right steps, a win or a victory is unavoidable. So again, whether it's work, personal relationships, I feel like certain things could be culminating in a very positive way. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into that further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Right. Let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. Put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel. I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out. What do we got for Aries? Cute. Cool. Okay, Five of Swords. Now, this is a fine line type of energy because the Five of Swords, to me, it can be very determined to see something through. Where it's like, when I start this, I will not quit this, or I will keep pushing. So I love the determination factor. But the one thing I'm not a big fan of is that this energy can sometimes be a little self-focused, self-centered, a little too much that it's not balanced properly. Or it can be too pushy, too aggressive. This is one of my aggression cards that could represent anger. So that kind of fits the theme, what we've been seeing within the reading about being non-reactive, planning something out, taking an easier route as opposed to brute forcing your way through. So I think it's pretty clear here. Now, again, for some Aries, maybe you're a little pissed about something. That's very possible when this card is here, where it's like, this just isn't sitting right with me. But that energy will fade. But the main thing here with the whole reading is like, Do not force, do not pressure, do not brute strength your way through something. Kind of let it take its natural course here. So we're going to put that Five of Swords down right there, my beautiful friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the June subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. My June calendar is live and spots go quick, so you could go check that out. But for the June subscriber surprise, doing another winner's choice, the winners, which will be three, will have a choice between either the Everyday Witches Tarot, which is a lovely tarot deck, one of my all-time favorites, or you can choose a custom pendant from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's two simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards in the deck, which one do you feel represents you and your energy best? You could even pick multiple if you'd like. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab /post tab. My friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.